Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Drive Pink Dialogue. Santi Morales just gave Inter Miami a win on penalties in Inter Miami's first preseason game of the season. It was honestly electric for a preseason game. The only part of it that felt like preseason was the penalties, the penalty shootout, because there was some skies. But I think a really fun, interesting performance with a ton to talk about. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. Guys, this is our post-game reaction. And so we want to hear what you have to say. Please get in the chat because this is our most interactive session. But we'll start with this. Saur, my friend and my co-host, what was your biggest takeaway from Javier Mascherano and this 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, whatever you want to call it, formation that we saw that I think is exactly what he wants to do with this team?
That all our players need to go on the training pitch and shoot some penalties because that was the worst penalty shootout I've ever seen.
Okay.
Other than that, that did not feel like
hold on. Congratulations to Santi Morales. Excellent confidence to go take that and win it. Rocco Rios Novo, good in penalties. Can we leave penalties behind now? Because the 90-minute game was really interesting and there was a ton to talk about.
I wanted to get my first bit in about the penalties, okay? After that, we can talk about the game.
That's the least interesting part. So just say what you got to say and then let's move
on. The game, really good, man. Did not feel like a preseason game at all. First observations, the team looked very sharp, sharper than I expected them to be. Club America started good, very hot, very heavy, intense. We didn't keep up with them in the first 15 minutes, but I think we were well drilled. This looked like a team that knew what they were trying to do, a very good shape throughout the game. The front line was really good, clicking well. But what stood out to me was the physicality of it. We kept up with them for large parts. We were on the pitch, our first team, until the 65th minute. And I thought we'd take everyone off at halftime and then bring on a new team in the second half. That didn't happen, which tells me that they all came back from preseason in very good shape. So everyone looked like they were sharper than I would expect them to be at this point in time. Went toe-to-toe against a team that's definitely ahead in terms of their preparation. They've already started their season. And I would say, barring a couple of opportunities, we could have actually won that game because the second goal that they scored was
we did win the game.
Well, we could have won that game in regulation time because the second goal that they scored was a bit of a faff from the keeper. And I didn't think they threatened us that much in the second half. We played really, really well. And I am very happy with the way Mascherano started this. We can talk a lot about the shape and everything, but I think what stood out to me was the physicality. And it felt like everyone was up and ready for it, at least when it comes to the physical aspect of the game.
Yes. A lot of players got 85 plus minutes. It also, aside from Santi Morales at the very end, everyone was sort of a veteran, established player that played in this game, and all of the established players got to play. So you you maybe expected a full line change in the second half. Some of the guys like Apaya and Bailey Sparks and Tyler Hall, like, maybe aren't ready for this, or maybe haven't proven enough to get there. And I think that's understandable. It's not like Kramaski didn't play. It's not like, but I was just thinking about this, the depth of this team, right? We just saw a full 11 plus 5 full legitimate quality subs come on the field. And that didn't include Benjamin Kramaski. It didn't include Gonzalo Lujan and Maxi Falcon and Tadeo Allende and Talasco Segovia. So there is going to be so much talented depth in this roster. And I think it really just hit me for the first time just now. Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez. Last year, specifically Suarez, it felt like he was really slow to ramp up into the season. He looked unathletic and in pain, and he had a bloopy goal to start in one of the Saudi Arabia games, but for the most part, struggled to get on the team sheet even starting into the season. I thought he looked athletic in this game. He gets an assist to Lionel Messi, who gets a header. Yeah, I did too. I thought he looked good. So
he leaned out a little bit.
I was very happy with Suarez, what we saw from him tonight, and Lionel Messi. He gets his goal. He had a few moments where he didn't come quite off quite come off for him at the very beginning, but after 15, 20 minutes, he got into the rhythm and he was fine. And he was good. So Messi, Suarez, I thought were really good. Same thing with Sergio Busquets. Last year, I think he was slow to get into the season, and he came alive after 10 games into the season. He was good tonight. He was really good tonight. And then Jordi Alba also, I thought, was really good.
You stole my words, because I knew Messi and Suarez would be a topic of discussion. But for me, Sergio Busquets was the main topic of discussion, because last preseason, I starkly remember preseason and at least the first 5 games of the season, he looked off. Today, he was just exactly how he finished that last season. He started this season as well. Very composed, very chill, basically press resistant. You can't get the ball off him. Had a couple of really good balls, created some good opportunities from that midfield. I thought he was really good. Overall, the team looks prepared, man. If they went into the Kansas City game like this tomorrow, I'd be happy with that. They look fine. They look prepared.
Did you hear about Kansas City?
No, I did not. What happened?
Kansas City had their first preseason scrimmage today. They played a college soccer team and lost 1-0.
Yeah,
played
that's
FIU
what I'm saying.
down in Miami.
Inter Miami looks ready to actually
Yes,
go
they
into
do.
the season. And
They
I'll
do.
be honest, I want to go back to a point that you made. All the players that we brought on, the second string that came on, I thought they elevated the team in that second half. The energy that we were slightly missing as we went into the 55th, 65th minute, you could see the team struggling a little bit, and Club America was playing around us. And then you bring on the legs, and I thought we started controlling the game really well. Ruiz looked decent. I thought Bright looked really sharp and bright. No pun intended. He had a good game. I thought Redondo got better once he was playing in that midfield 3. Gressel looked good, got on the ball a few times, had a really good corner as well. He looks in shape, right? Yeah, everyone looks ready. I think I don't know what diet plan they put everyone on.
Yeah.
I don't know what the physical plan everyone's on, but I felt like everyone was ready to go, knew exactly what their role was. And more than anything, the sharpness that I saw in terms of keeping position, keeping shape, that's something that you miss out in preseason, because the mind gets really tired as the legs go. And that's when you start to lose your shape. And I thought the team was in really good shape throughout the game. And I think the defensive duo of Aviles and Allen they had a really flawless game. They were very good up until like the first 15, 20 minutes where everyone was finding their feet. I thought they were probably the players of the match.
Yeah, I thought they played really well too. Let's get to the chat. Bigga says that winning penalty will increase Morales' confidence. We were not allowed to see Santi Morales last year. He will be available this year. Now, listen, we just talked about how much depth this team has, but great moment for the kid. He gets his first minutes with the senior team, and he gets a game-winning moment, right? Not just 5 minutes on the pitch, but a huge moment that he'll remember forever. It'll be interesting to see what he can do this year. If we are going to play with a real number 10 this year, like a true number 10, he's a guy that I think can fit into the depth chart somewhere, maybe. Now, he's very young, and physically he still needs to improve, but I thought it was a very positive performance, and I think that was really good. Skrilla says Redondo didn't have the best game, and I'm sure a lot of people felt that way as well. I agree. I think, Saur, you agree with that. Do we need to make a big deal out of it? It was one game, first game of preseason. A lot of guys came in, looked really sharp. He wasn't one of them, and that's okay because it's the first game of preseason.
He was combative. He got a few good interceptions, got the ball off a couple of times. I think I tweeted this. His issue was his positioning and passing a few times. A couple of good passes into the final third, but his positioning was the biggest letdown. There were a couple of instances. I remember in the 10th minute when Sergio Busquets was high up and Redondo was also high up, and then the Club America players just had the lines to play in between, and they got in the midfield and they just ran the show from there. The problem there was when they showed the replay, Busquets and Redondo were both running back from the exact same spot, and they were in the same position. That's not where Redondo is supposed to be. He's supposed to be slightly further back. Another point that I saw was when Messi had the ball in the final third, he put a really good ball back into Jordi Alba that led to an opportunity. But Redondo was out of position in case we got countered on. And then that's when we get into trouble. I knew we were going to get run over. I know this is an issue that the team has faced last season as well. I'm not concerned about Redondo. I think he'll be fine. I thought he looked fit. He didn't look like he was tired at the end of the game, which is good. He played longer minutes than the rest of the team. He'll be okay. But the positive side of this is if he's not okay, we've got players who will replace him. So he has to pull his socks up. If he doesn't play well, he's going to get brought off. And I think I trust Javier Mascherano enough to make that decision in case Redondo doesn't play well, because he's not the one who signed him for $8 million.
You are very high on Javier Mascherano now.
No, I'm not high on Javier Mascherano. I'm just saying
very...
there's too many options in this midfield now for Redondo to put a step wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. And listen, he's going to get chances.
Yeah,
the price tag still is there, but it was the first preseason game. I'm not making a big deal out of it, honestly. Rock says that Cello and Redondo weren't great. Cello, listen, you mentioned it with Federico Redondo. He got caught out of position a couple times. I think with Cello, he was playing much deeper back, which I think we both like as a combo. And then he was protected a little bit with that right wing, right midfielder Robert Taylor position instead of having Messi, who didn't really track back. So I think it'll be interesting to have those conversations after a few more games as we see these tactics develop and we get a better sense of what each player is supposed to do and how different players interact with each other in this system. So I don't want to go too much into the tactics now, but I think with Redondo, there was some touch things. I thought Cello was fine, solid, predictable. He did what Cello does.
He was up against a difficult opposition. I think he was getting rinsed a little bit on that right-hand side. Yeah. And obviously you don't have the cover of, I mean, Taylor helped him a few times. I thought Taylor was really good in the press at a couple of points, especially in that first half. But Cello had to adjust a little bit, and it's fine. Again, he's a good player. He's not going to be great. He's not going to be fantastic, but he's going to put a shift in, and this is what we've decided to go with into this season, and it's fine. We just have to deal with it. He was okay. I don't think he was too bad.
Yeah, and listen, Ian Frey's going to come back, and you just mentioned that Javier Mascherano was not the person that brought in Federico Redondo. He also wasn't the person that brought in Cello Wigan. So we'll see if Ian Frey can factor in there. We'll see how Gonzalo Lujan factors in there. But listen, if I was the coach of Inter Miami, I would be licking my chops at the opportunity to get Ian Frey on that right back spot. But yeah, Tony asks or says, I liked Novo's play. How did you feel about the goalkeeper? Because we'll talk about Fafa in a minute, but we saw two new players, and the most active was, of course, the goalkeeper, who had to make a few saves, had a very big blunder for that second goal, but did do some redeeming with a couple nice saves after that, and then into penalties, he had a couple saves. So how'd you feel about Rocco Rios Novo?
First of all, very happy for him that he got this opportunity to play for Inter Miami and with Messi. He must have been a bundle of nerves, because that position is the hardest position in world football. Being a goalkeeper, you're the most scrutinized. If you do good things, nobody's going to mention it. But if you do one bad thing, everyone's going to talk about it. I'm glad he got the opportunity to make a couple of saves in the penalty shootout as well. And then in game, he had 1-2 good saves as well, because you don't want his first game for Inter Miami to be known for that one blunder. His kicking wasn't fantastic. It was okay. His short passing was fine. His long passing was okay. Not a big fan of it. But I thought he got an opportunity to redeem himself. He was good. Didn't have too many errors, just that one, which was basically the goal that they scored. But other than that, I don't think he was tested too much either.
Yeah, I'm actually not overly positive about his performance, but it was just one game, so I don't want to like critique it.
I don't want to.
I think there is a bigger conversation to have about this player, and we're going to do that probably later, not right now. But interesting debut. I think we got to see a lot of it. Like, we got to see how he plays with his feet. We got to see his long passing range. We got to see how he reacts in the box, commands the box, shot stops, reacts to shots, reacts to crosses, etc. We got to see a lot from him in this game, which was interesting, and that's what you like to see. I remember back to Ustari's one game against Toronto last year, and it felt like he didn't really have to do much, and so we didn't see that much. Okay, Libby says, I liked what I saw in Fafa. How did you feel when you saw that through the legs dribble from
I was up and
Fafa?
applauding. That's exactly what I was looking for. I thought he put a shift in. Fafa had a really good game for me. He really fits into this lineup well. when we get going and when we need his legs, I think he's going to be an absolute asset to have. And feels like he's going to link up really well with Messi, Suarez, and Alba. So created some good opportunities, had some really good moments, and that nutmeg was the cherry on top. Overall, a very positive debut from him. I wish he could have capped it off with a goal because I thought he could score one. But I think he did enough. A hard worker. That's all you want from your front line.
You can see how it fits. You can
Yep.
see he's already like the guy that's the dummy when Messi gets onto the ball. He's got the pace. He's got the relentlessness. He can press. He can defend. He can be all over the field. I thought it was a very good first game. I mean, if this was his first game for Inter Miami in official competition, we would have said it was a great debut.
Yep.
So I really liked it. And he had the big moment that got everyone to ooh and ah. So I thought he was great. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. Sean says Aviles and Allen pairing was actually great.
I told you, man. The defense is solid.
Is he ahead of David Martinez? Noah Allen on the depth chart?
I think so. He hasn't put a foot wrong this entire in last 6 months. He hasn't had one bad game.
I know. It's true. He's been so good.
One bad game. He's been consistently good.
You know what it was when he fell on his head?
Second half. So
remember when he fell on his head?
What?
Last year, sort of late in the season, he had to come in because I think Kristoff got hurt. And he played really well at center back after Kristoff got hurt. Or maybe it was David Martinez. And at the end of the game, he kind of got flipped over and he fell on his head. And he's been incredible ever since he fell on his head. Yeah. So
it's the head
really impressive performance. Defensively, he's so good. And so I'm excited. We got to see a little bit at the end. Noah Allen went to left back. Jordi Alba moved up before coming off. I'm excited to see what he can do going forward now because it's been so long and so much potential development and certainly confidence for Noah Allen. I'm excited to see what he's going to be this year.
Really good in the left back side as well. He doesn't go as forward as Jordi Alba, but I think he offers just enough that you can count on him as a backup left back. I think he's better as a center back, honestly.
We'll see. No, but that's my point is we haven't seen enough of him as a left back. AZ says, I've seen enough. Put Roco in. RL says, Roco so in. Bizrat says, Fafa, big thumbs up. Redondo, not so much. Gressel was great corner inbound on that Aviles header. What a way to end the game. Response both times from Inter Miami. We give up a goal and then we respond right away. We get the goal back. Late in the game, we need a goal to, even the backups, even I don't even want to call them backups because they're all quality players, but even at the end, at the death, Inter Miami keeps pushing, keeps fighting, and they get the goal. And I love that. It was
a matter of few measures, right? We tried really hard. As soon as they got the second goal, we got back in it. We were trying to push and we weren't sitting back defending too much. I know the shape was very defensive, but it didn't feel like we were under too much pressure. Towards the end of the game, especially, we were pushing up. The athletic bodies were trying to do runs. I know Yannick Bright took the ball, ran with it beautifully in the midfield, and had a really good ball into Leo Afonso. If only he just had a good touch, he could have had an opportunity straight on goal. Robert Taylor had a really good cross in for Fafa Picault as well earlier. And overall, we were trying, and it just wasn't clicking in the final third as it would with Messi and Suarez on the pitch.
Yeah.
But we were trying to go and get that win, which was really promising to see because you could just sit behind and be like, it's preseason. I don't want to run too much. Don't want to injure myself. And the best part was nobody came out of this game injured. So thank the Lord for that.
You know what I realized? In the second half, once Messi and Suarez came off, it felt for a moment to me like Inter Miami doesn't have any goal threats. And I was nervous about that. And then 5 minutes later, Leo Afonso comes on, and all of a sudden I realize he looks like a goal threat.
He is sharp. He is very sharp.
Listen, I mentioned this at the very beginning of the offseason. I said, watch out for Leo Afonso this year to have a real nice jump and impact and role this upcoming season. And then they went out and they signed Tadeo Allende, and they are going to get Baltasar Rodriguez and Fafa. And really, it was the Fafa Picault signing. It felt to me like, okay, Miami is not ready to let him have that breathing room to show what he's got. But dude, he looks better. I feel like every time he played last year, he was better and better and better and better. And if he just continues that into the offseason and this season, he's going to be a real player. He's got the pace and he has goal scoring threat and danger. And he makes those runs and the nice moves and he gets himself into position to get shots off. I was really impressed with Leo Afonso today. He might Like he might be my like most surprising, but like in the best way player from this game.
Yeah, I can almost bet the bank on one of our young players to actually break through, because it just feels like it's waiting for them to have that one game to just break the ceiling. Whether it's Yannick Bright, whether it's Noah Allen, whether it's Leo Afonso, it just feels like one of them is going to have that, let's call it the Diego Gomez breakthrough season, because this team has come back from off season and they look like they're ready and they're hungry. And I like that. It looks like they're sharp. Now, again, this could completely switch in the next game. You don't know. But today they came in locked in. They came in prepared. And one thing I used to cry about with Tata Martino was there were too many holes, there were too many gaps and across the field. And it felt like something was missing, whether it was in the front, whether it was in the middle, whether it was in the back. If we were playing poorly in the back, we would let in goals, leak in goals, basically. If we were playing poor in the middle, we'd have so many gaps, we'd get caught on the counter and caught on the defense transitions. If we were playing poorly up front, we wouldn't create any goals. I don't think I saw a single moment in that game today where I was like, oh shit, they're going to catch us on the defensive transition and we're going to get cut open. If they did, our defense did come back and we were
they had
solid
some
enough.
moments.
Yeah, they had moments for sure, but it wasn't like we were constantly getting cut apart, right? If it happened once, then the bodies would come in the next play to try and plug that gap up. It wasn't a pervasive issue. So that goes to show that we're sharper. And going back to my original point, I do think one of our young players is going to have a breakthrough season for sure.
Yeah, no, listen, I thought the back four played well as a unit.
Yeah.
And I thought the front four played well as a unit, especially after those first 15, 20 minutes when they got into the game. The midfield too of Busquets and Redondo. I think if this was like a regular season game, we might go a little bit deeper into what happened there.
Yeah.
But
they weren't bad, but there was something that could have been better. And we know what the something was, but just no point like actually
but like the deeper conversation becomes, okay, how does your personnel and structure fit the rest of the team? Like I don't want to just put it up to one bad performance from one player because it could be a bigger issue, but that's something we need to see more of it and get into at a later date, I think.
And can we talk about how we switched up in the second half once the other signings came on? Because 4-4-2 was our base. I think they played in a 4-4-2. I know you disagree. But first half for me, it was definitely a 4-4-2 formation, especially when we were off the ball. Second half, we switched to a 4-3-3, 4-1-2-3. I thought it was really good for Javier Mascherano to try out a couple of different formations. And I'm happy with the way it's panning out. I think the 4-2-3-1 looked good as well.
Dude, we didn't even mention this yet. And that's my bad because I'm a bad host. Lionel Messi centrally. And someone on the right side. We never saw that once under Tata Martino. And I was crying out last year for Ian Frey to get that right back spot because he provided a presence down that right side. But if you just put a winger out there and a winger on the other side, like you make him a central player, you create space for him and you allow other players to spread out that back line. Like that, I think could really work. I'm excited about this. I want to see more of it.
But attack Club America today because there was danger from both Robert Taylor and Fafa Picault. They were sticking to the bylines when they needed to. There wasn't constantly someone coming into the middle and congesting the center of the park and then nobody making those runs on the wide flanks. And can we also talk about, I know we should probably do a post-game analysis of this, but we're not going to do that. We're going to save that for the next season. But I loved how direct we were today. It didn't take us too long to build up. We weren't slow and lethargic in our build up. We didn't take our own sweet time. When there was an opportunity, we had bodies running forward. Suarez was running forward. Messi was running forward. Fafa, obviously, and then Robert Taylor. Sergio Busquets dictating that play. We were direct. We were quick. We were putting the balls in. There were players making a run in behind. I really liked that. I think that was exactly how you play the 4-4-2. You utilize your defensive solidness to then catch them on as quick as possible. And if that's a sign of things to come, I think that's definitely a weapon we can use because we now have the personnel to be able to do that. Even if you play two of the slowest players with Messi and Suarez up top, you still have those wingers making those runs in behind who can catch the defenders off.
Yeah, listen, again, it's the first preseason game. I don't want to overreact, and I want to let things settle in, and so we really see what we have. But Messi, essentially, I'm very excited about. Now,
Yeah.
how do you make the rest of the midfield work around him? I think that could be like the defining question of the next couple months. And hopefully we get it right so that it doesn't cost us in the important games coming up. But I think the potential there is really impressive. And listen, we haven't seen a right winger play to the right of Messi since he got here. And so even though I didn't think Robert Taylor had a hugely impactful game, like the potential of what that could be, I think is really, really exciting. Okay, let's get back to the chat. Pete says, let's be honest, that Club America was playing with us. We still won at least. Oh, they were playing with us. Listen, Club America came into this game ready to make a statement about how they are the dominant team in CONCACAF. And then Messi and the boys stayed in the locker room for 5 extra minutes at halftime and said, no. We are who this is all about. That was awesome. And then they go out and win the game also. So I, whatever Club America wants to say or think, that's fine.
They were the better team.
I
they
thought so.
played more football for sure. But Inter Miami was right up there with them. They weren't blown away by any means. It wasn't a lucky win that we got. I thought we should have gone in drawing. I think the 2-2 was actually a fair result because one of their goals was actually given to them by us. Overall, they played really good football, but we stuck with them and we didn't go away, which is a good quality to have. And the atmosphere was in their favor as well. So we took that well.
The talent, sorry, I'm about to sneeze. The talent wasn't a disparity. Like
no,
they looked a little bit crisper, a little bit cleaner, but in terms of like talent, I remember we went to Saudi Arabia last year and those wingers who are very highly priced and, they have really impressive wingers on that Al Hilal team, but they looked like a next level and we had to really rely on the Messi and Suarez combination to try and keep us in those games. Tonight, it felt like these are 2 even teams. One's a little bit ahead of the other team in terms of readiness and season preparedness. But for the most part, like these teams are ready to ball out against each other. And I would not be afraid of them going into the CONCACAF Champions Cup or the Leagues Cup or whatever. And I thought that was really good. Nuno says, very intense for a preseason game. Yes, no chance the old guys can keep it up during the season. That is something I am interested in because we mentioned Suarez looked athletic. He looked good. I mean, for like the physical limits that he has, I thought he looked really impressive. Messi was getting involved in the press. Like we were pressing much more than we ever did with those 2 on the field under Tata Martino. And they stepped it up a notch when those 2 came out. So now we did do some pressing with the team when those guys weren't involved last year, but really when those guys are involved, we didn't see it at all. And we did see it some in this game.
You're forgetting one very important factor. We still have like 4 players to come into this team. The depth
like
is
6 or 7.
Yeah, the depth is massive. Kramaski, Maxi Falcone, Segovia, Allende, maybe Baltazar Rodriguez, Lujan. Oh, I don't even.
And if it's not Baltasar Rodriguez, it's Facundo Faria. So
yeah. So there's a lot of depth to come into this team, and I completely agree with you that it's hard to maintain this play style throughout the season. But it didn't feel like today when our second string came on, there was a drop in quality, which is a very good sign. There's definitely a drop in quality. It's not a massive drop in quality.
I'm wondering about the goal scoring threat.
Yeah, that might be a little bit.
I think when last year, I think when Matias Rojas came on and Leo Campana came on, you felt like there were still goals to be had from those 2. I was a little worried about it when Suarez and Messi came out today. And like, I thought Leo Afonso stepped into that role, but I don't like, I want to see that from Tadeo Allende. I want to see that from whoever the next striker is. I want to see that from, Fafa Picault and Baltasar Rodriguez and Segovia. Like, I still think, I mean, what are we talking about here? Of course, when Messi goes off the field, you don't feel that goal danger as much as, so I don't know, maybe I'm being silly. They still manufactured a goal anyways. Okay. RL says Aviles was very impressive. Fafa will be very interesting. Libby Z says Redondo should not be a starter. We talked about that a little bit, but Biggest says, are you guys for the 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1? Listen, I think it's the same. Like in essence, you're talking about very similar responsibilities and duties for each player. You sit back and you're going to have the wingers help the fullbacks more. I think we're definitely going to see that this year. But I thought Messi played as like a true number 10. Not like, I thought that's what it was. And I thought it looked really interesting.
Yeah, I think 4-4-2 in the defensive formation with 4 players behind. And then when we attack, Messi comes in slightly deeper to pick the ball up. I always prefer the 3-man midfield. I always prefer having an out-and-out midfielder in there alongside Sergio Busquets and Redondo. But you can mix things up. There's a lot of versatility in the squad to be able to utilize different aspects. So it doesn't have to be too rigid. 4-4-2 in defense is always my preference, but also when you're attacking, 4-2-3-1 is my preference. So we just need to find the right personnel for the positions, and I think we'll be fine either way.
Well, but they stuck with the 4-2-3-1 when they took Messi and Suarez off.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's like in essence what Mascherano wants to be. Brad says disagrees. He says Fafa was a disappointment. The guy kept trying to dribble and losing the ball. I thought he was fine.
I thought he was good. I think for a first game he was good.
And then Nuno says, nah, Redondo looked good, faster, and stronger. This could be his breakout year. Sean disagrees, though.
I agree that Redondo looked physically better. He looked physically in a better shape, and that's a positive altogether.
Fafa is incredible. IMCF needs Nahuel Ferraresi, Baltasar Rodriguez, and hopefully a third DP, Neymar or Di Maria. Listen, they are bringing in the center back. I think Ferraresi is a center back. They're going to bring in Maxi Falcone, and I'm very excited about that. I think they're going to get Baltasar Rodriguez, and I think they're going to get a third DP at some point. So I think you're going to get your wish. Maybe not Ferraresi, but with Maxi Falcone instead. Pete says Redondo is a dirty player. He was very physical in this game. Like he was going after them. And I was like taken aback by it, but also I think Inter Miami has not played a game in months. They came into a raucous environment, and they were going up against a team that was prepared to come out and ball. And they needed intensity early on, and they brought it. And Federico Redondo was one of the guys that brought the intensity early to help get the team ready to go. And I think that intensity is what helped them lift them after the first 15 minutes. And then they played really well, I thought, the last 75.
Yeah, he had some good ball recoveries, some good interceptions, had a couple of feisty tackles. He looked combative, as I mentioned, and that was a positive aspect of his game.
The more we press, the more space we create in our back for them to attack. We have to fix it. Yeah, but that's part of the midfield getting, I think, their positioning right. And I think that's something Redondo struggled with last year. Hopefully he improves upon this year in a new system. I think Yannick Bright's very good at that. And so I think it'll just look different with different personnel in the midfield. But I thought the defense looked better. I thought they looked better. I thought Aviles looks like he's going to take a step up this year based on this one game.
He was my man of the match, I think.
And I think here's the thing. Noah Allen's playing so well that if David Martinez or Maxi Falcone is going to bench him like long term, they have to be really, really good because Noah Allen has proven he can set this standard.
Competition, man. There's competition in the squad.
Miami better organized without the ball than last year. I definitely felt
for sure. That. I saw that as well. Yeah.
I feel Rock says I feel Fafa is a perfect sub player. Ash says Drake out, Rios in. Are you surprised that people are reacting this way to Rios's performance?
A little bit.
Because here's the thing: if Drake did that, what happened with the second goal? They would crucify him for it, and nothing else would have mattered.
Listen, I can't harp on how much criticized goalkeeping position is. And everyone has their opinion in that, but I will always be a little bit more lenient towards whoever the goalkeeper is in our squad. I thought Rios' performance today was good, but I feel like people are overblowing it out of proportion a little bit. It wasn't phenomenal. Like, he definitely had some gaping holes, and I still think he's the third choice goalkeeper. I would put Ustari and Drake ahead of him for sure. And then Drake Callender, man, he comes under scrutiny, but I think he's a very underrated player, and he is potentially the best value for money that we can get for a goalkeeper.
I think if Drake plays tonight, we get a clean sheet, honestly. Well, we probably don't because the Herons hate giving Drake clean sheets. But I think both of those goals wouldn't have gone in if Drake was the keeper. Liam says, I'm really excited to see the new players throughout the preseason. Totally agree. RL says Drake is leaving. Maybe. I wouldn't be so confident about that right now. Sean says Redondo wasn't running. He was jogging at that 10-minute mark. Catherine says, when are we getting the DP? Depends on how things unfold. Well, Yeah,
Maybe
we'll see
now,
what happens
yeah.
with Neymar. I don't know.
Yeah.
With Rocco, I don't think he is getting any chances. Probably agree. Redondo's touches were also off. Gressel was so confident he was about to take that pen, dude. He gets the game-winning assist, and that's what I'm going to remember about this game.
We don't talk about the penalties. You said no.
Yeah, I just remember the assist. Jay says Gressel or Bright always before Redondo. He gets brownie points because he's Argentine. Another couple games like this, and you can't see how they can argue he's a regular starter. Well, listen, here's the thing. We're going to have two midfielders, it feels like, this year, as opposed to what we did last year, where Redondo could have fit in 3 different spots. And he's going to have to compete against Busquets, which he's going to lose. He's going to have to compete against Yannick Bright. He's going to have to compete against Telasco Segovia, possibly, probably. So, yeah, he has the big price tag, but he's going to have to earn it. And we'll see. I mean, hopefully he does, because that means he's playing really well. Ruiz impressed, says Anton. How'd you feel about David Ruiz?
He looks bigger. He looks like he's put on some muscle. I thought I couldn't make out the difference between him and Yannick Bright at some points. And I was like, damn, that doesn't look like Ruiz from last season. He looked fine. I think he didn't have enough time to make a difference as such, but I think he looked sharp. He looked ready. He was running, doing the work. And I think the midfield overall looked fine when they came on and replaced the main players. It didn't seem too out of shape.
Rock says, God, I hope Mascherano plays this direct attack play. We didn't get a ton of opportunities on goal.
No.
But we're playing a good team. Like, I don't want to harp on that too much. It was only one game, but we'll see. They obviously didn't control possession either. So, but again,
I don't think that was the plan.
I agree. So I don't want to talk about that too much, because I don't know if we want to draw conclusions yet.
Yeah.
Jay says, other than that muffed leaping save he mishandled, he played well, had an important saving game, a couple of shootout. I thought the first goal I thought he should have stopped the first goal also. Bizrat, on a side note, America, not good defending crosses. Both our goals came from crossing headers. Something to keep in mind for later in the season, although the second one came against the second string. Gressel was key, gentlemen, says Cringe. Yes, he was. It was Redondo who got in his way, but can't say it was all Redondo's fault. No, that's not Redondo's fault. You got to be louder and more commanding in the box. And he is a smaller goalkeeper, so that does make it more difficult. Moving forward, is there one player that you're like, I got to see more of this guy from tonight's performance?
Messi? Now, Fafa Picault, I really liked what I saw today. Thought there were some glimpses of what he can really do. And overall, I think he had a very positive impact on this team. It's not easy coming into this team and blending in the chemistry, especially in that front line when you have Suarez, Alba, and Messi who basically telepathically read each other. And trying to fit into that is a little bit difficult. But I think Fafa Picault is going to have a really positive impact, because the thing is, now when he plays with Messi and with Alba behind him and with Suarez up top, you have another danger with Fafa Picault. When other defenders are occupied with Suarez and Messi, Fafa can just run in behind them and create chaos. And that, to me, is such a good quality to have in a player. I'm very excited to see Segovia now, because I think he's going to absolutely thrive in this system. I don't want to eat my words. I don't want to shoot the shot too early, but I think he's going to be a key going forward into this season, and I'm very excited to see him play. I think he can be the signing of the season.
Well, I'm excited about
in this system specifically. That's the thing. I like what I saw, and I think he can fit in here perfectly.
Listen, if Lionel Messi is going to be the number 10 as the plan, then that means Segovia is going to partner with Busquets.
Yeah,
I think.
Listen, we're not playing
and
a three-man defense. You've already said this. We're not planning to play. Okay.
No, but
based on this game, we're not going to draw conclusions too much. But if we play that two-man defense where we have two wider players in that midfield instead, and then Messi as that number 10, it's still technically just a two-man midfield, right? You don't have that third midfielder who's going. It's not 2 8s. It's 1 10 and 2 8-6 players. So it's 6 8 10 basically what we're planning to play. Segovia has to be that number 8. If he's the player that we think he is, he's going to be that number 8 playing with Busquets, not the number 10. he can potentially play the number 10 when you want to rest Messi.
Yeah, I think he can do all of them, dude.
Yeah.
I think he can do all of them. I'm super excited about him. But let's get back to this game. Julian Gressel, captains Inter Miami. You mentioned this while we were watching the penalty shootout together. Is he going to stay now? I mean, where are we at with Julian Gressel?
I'm so confused. I don't know. Before this game, I thought he was done. And then now it seems like you don't give him the captain's armband, but then who else do you give it to? That's the thing. Who else is on the pitch that you give it to? Aviles?
No, I don't know. Cello, I don't know.
Cello,
probably
yeah.
Gressel. No, probably Gressel. I don't know. I have to look at who was on it at that moment. Jay says Gressel is steady and our best player, best passer, sorry, after Alba and Messi. Sadi says, talk to Maximo Falcone, please. Listen, I'm excited to see him. I think he's going to come in and take over that left center back spot, but he's going to have to be really good to hold off Noah Allen. My goodness. Ash says the team will improve their situational awareness. Jay says, yes, like Afonso. Janet says, the most interesting penalty takers I've ever seen. Okay. Let's talk about the penalties.
Do you want to end on the penalties?
You talk about the penalties. I'm going to read through more of the chats and pick out some of the best ones because you guys are awesome and we've got so many chats. By the way, do us a favor and hit the like button. We've got 230 people watching on all platforms and we'd really appreciate that. But yeah, dude, go ahead and talk about penalties.
Those were some awful penalties. They didn't even hit the target, for God's sake.
From both teams.
They just needed to hit the target because every single one of them, and I mean both Club America and Inter Miami, they just skied it. And I swear to God, if this happens in regular season, I would lose my mind. Every single one of them was a senior player for Inter Miami, and they just absolutely messed it up. Cello Wigan, nobody in the entire Inter Miami fan base had any confidence in Cello Wigan when he stepped up to take that penalty. I can guarantee you that. Every single one of us thought he was going to miss, and he did. Julian Gressel, terrible.
Can I get some credit though? As soon as I saw Santi Morales come up, I was like, he's going to end it right here.
Yeah, he looked confident, and I'm so happy for him as well. 17 years old, homegrown, takes the last penalty to take it home for us. Well done, lad. Well done.
Yeah, well done indeed. Ash says that he liked seeing Mascherano communicate with the players. How did you feel? I mean, he was certainly active. He was trying to get them into certain positions, getting them to press higher. I don't know if that's because it's his first game and he's got nervous energy. I don't know if that's his style. I don't know if it's the preseason and he's trying to work with them. And as the season goes on and as the guys understand what they're supposed to do, that might cool off a little bit. But how did you feel about his presence, his decisions, giving guys a lot of minutes, right? Not subbing at halftime, but letting guys really go into it. How'd you feel about Mascherano in this game and the starting lineup?
Constantly talking to Fafa on the byline, getting him to get in the right position, press at the right time. Let's start with the structure. I thought he set up the team really well. The shape of the team was really good. He's definitely been working on it because you could see it was different from the last time that we had a coach. Tata Martino didn't necessarily have such a compact shape, and you could tell that when Tata Martino wanted us to play, it was a lot more open, both going forward and coming back. I think this is a good starting point. He set ourselves up with a good defensive structure, and we can build off of it. Surprised that he let the players play on for so long. I was actually at the 60th minute, I was a bit confused because I thought you take them off now before anyone gets injured. But he definitely knew his players. They didn't seem tired. It didn't seem like anyone ran themselves into the ground. They were a lot more fit and a lot more fresh than I thought they'd be going into this game. So overall, looked good. His presence in the byline, I actually really liked. I told you this before we started talking. I got a good vibe from him, the way he was chatting, the way he was constantly engaged in the game. And it felt like he knew exactly what he wanted to do, brought on the right players at the right time, made some right substitutions. Overall, a really positive first game from him, and I got really good vibes from him on that sideline. I think he held himself well. Hopefully, he keeps this confidence going into the season. But the true sign of a coach would be when the going gets tough. And I'm sure at some point in the season, we're going to have questions about him.
Yeah, listen, all the subs were pre-planned. So how does he make in-game adjustments? How does he set this team up against different opponents and the best opponents, right? It'll be one thing when we play Houston. It'll be another thing when we play Columbus or
Exactly.
if we play the Galaxy later in the season. So I think it's to be determined on Mascherano. And listen, like it's so easy and fun to talk about how someone comes off in their press conference or how they look on the sideline or how they, shake hands with the other coach. Like you want to make so much out of that, but the truth will come out with his performances when we see the games really count and the key decisions that change, not just games, but seasons, because the standard is very high. He has to be better than the guy that won the Supporters Shield. And so that's going to be tough, but hopefully he does it. Jay says, how about Miami coming out of the locker room late for the second half? Seems to be their MO. You think it's mind games. I have a theory about this, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
I don't have any theory about this. I just think someone lost their boot and was trying to find it where it was.
I disagree.
I know what you're going to say, but go on. Say it.
I think Club America rested their starters for a league game so that they could show up to this game ready to kick our butts. And it was 1-1 at halftime. And Miami was like, oh, you think you're going to play mind games? No. Watch what we can do in the middle of the game. And they end up winning the game. So, again, Club America came into this game ready and trying to make a statement. They wanted to put a win on the board that was dominant enough to scare all MLS clubs, all League MX clubs, like to put sort of doubt in other teams' minds going into the CONCACAF Champions Cup and going into the Leagues Cup, and to establish that their impressive record in Liga MX and in Mexico over the last couple of years, 2 years, is legitimate on a continental scale. And Inter Miami won in their first preseason game.
We haven't played in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Circus Fun says Toto looks like a new player. Kareem says, hey guys, just finished watching UFC 311.
Bloody hell. Makachev won. And then Jury won as well. That was good.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
First preseason game done, man. In the books. First game of 2025 done. Inter Miami looked good. If this is the direction we're going in, positive vibes all along. It's going to get better. It's going to get worse. Strap in because it's going to be a long ride. But I just want to say that thank you to every one of you who joined us today in the pregame show, joined us right now in the postgame reaction. This is going to be a staple for us this season. We're going to do this often. We're going to do this a lot. So keep interacting, keep joining us, because Inter Miami is going to take us on a wild ride up the Herons, man.
All right, you're closing this out before I'm ready. I need another 2 minutes from you. Last thing, next game is in 11 days on Wednesday, the 29th. I guess 10 days. No, 11 days. Well, it is after midnight. Who do you want to see of the new signings?
All of them. Maxi Falcon, Segovia, Allende, Baltazar Rodriguez, and Lujan. All of them need to start.
Okay, so now after this one performance against a very good team, how are you feeling about this season?
I'm excited, man. I'm on a hype train right now. I'm very excited. I think there's something brewing. If we can keep this up, only like 37 more games to go in the regular season, or I don't know,
like 45, 48.
45, yeah. And then the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. How happy and excited are you to have Inter Miami soccer back?
Oh, I couldn't talk about transfers any longer. As much as I love talking about new players and transfer rumors and all that, there's nothing better than sitting down and actually analyzing games. And I was constantly typing notes about what I was seeing, and I can't wait to actually do that in a regular game of the season. First game against Kansas City. I'm going to be there with my notepad because it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It was so much fun. And guys, you guys made the pregame show electric. I mean, the whole environment, atmosphere of it was so much fun for us. And then this postgame show, same thing. And then all of that got me ready to really embrace and enjoy that game in a way that I don't think I would have a year ago for the first preseason game. we normally during the regular season would do a podcast the next day, rewatch the game, break down everything. We're not going to do that for the preseason games. It's just all vibes. But I appreciate you guys being here. We'll be back sometime this upcoming week for a normal episode. And until then, guys, hit the like button. And thank you for being a part of this. Have a wonderful night. And we will see you guys next time. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Since our first viewer, sharing this with you all has been the very best part. So from the beginning until the end, thank you for being a part of this and have a wonderful day.